Questions?
So given the long layoff, how do you see that affecting the team, and how do you see the team handling that?
Well, I think in the short term, it's really beneficial for our group. You know, the players themselves, 7-game series, 6-game series, fortunate to close out quickly against Carolina. But what we've been, you know, pedaling them out here mentally for a while. I do believe the short term will help us a lot. Then it's incumbent upon us to simulate as best we can what's going to be required going forward. You know, we're going to tap into some outside resources that have gone through some layoffs and some situations, and you know, just try and do the best we can to simulate.
Are there any particular ways in which you're working for that?
We're going to look at whether or not, you know, from a scrimmaging standpoint, Bruce and I talked briefly about it, and ultimately up to him in terms of, you know, getting a read where the players are, first of all, mentally and physically. We've been given the first couple days off. We're going to practice for a couple days. We now know the schedule, so we can start forecasting. And a little bit is dependent on where the players are at. We got a couple guys that missed the final game, so we have to give guys the appropriate time to recover, and then go to work. I think our guys know how to practice. We're a team that likes to practice. It's tough to crutch, probably stated it's like practice, but I think this time of the year he'll show up and practice for me.
Butch also said that you know, reach out to outside. Who are those outside people that you?
Well, there's different sports. There's crossovers that we've all sort of identified that we're going to tap into. There's a local team I think that's, you know, had time between you know, their run of Super Bowl. So we are going to look at different resources that, you know, have done it well.
Do you have a relationship with Belichick? Is he somebody you could reach out to and just chat about?
I personally, no. I have a hell of a lot of respect for the man, that's for sure. But, you know, I think we're going to reach out to their group and just, again, tap into, you know, every different, you know, we look at everybody's assets, you know, in that way. Hopefully they'll be able to share some information with us.
What in general is your feeling on momentum, whether or not you lose it by having a layoff, or whether or not do you believe in it to a great extent? What's just your general feeling on momentum?
I'm not concerned about it. I really believe that our team has earned the right to be here. They're gonna, you know, they're in the moment. You know, if you really listen to our leadership group, and there's a lot of microphones in and around the game now, you can understand how dialed in they are, and they recognize the finish line and they want to get there. It's a long way between there, but I think that, you know, there's so many different momentum that the series is spread out in the finals. You know, you've got days in between and 2 days for travel. So it's a game by game, shift by shift, and guys need to live in the moment. I think we recognize that.
When you get to the final, in a sense, that's self-confirming on how you've built your team. But do 3 rounds teach you anything in terms of that, in terms of team composition, what it takes to win?
Well, yeah, obviously you're proud of your group. I think the resiliency that you recognize throughout the course of the year, I don't think it comes down to just 3 rounds. You know, that's too small a sample size to evaluate your group at. You know, the players have made adjustments, the coaches have made adjustments. We've had players come in on the lineup. I think we did that throughout the season and with relative consistency. I think the biggest change in terms of the context of the 82-game schedule and how we balance the goaltending is Tuukka's taking the ball and can obviously play very well. And our team has benefited greatly from that. He's the first person to point out and recognize that Yarrow has been a really big factor. He hasn't necessarily shared the net the way he did in the regular season, but I think our whole organization recognizes that he's been a big part of our success.
And when you started, Donnie, you preached patience. You preached like a 5-year plan kind of thing. Now that you're 4 years into it, you know, just how would you assess the way it's all come together since you started?
I don't know if I really preached a 5-year plan internally. Internally, we have a lot of different balls in the air. Do I roll out a 5-year plan? Yeah, but we're trying to win, and we tried to do some things, call it on the fly, deepen the prospect pool, integrate younger players, all the things we did talk about and try and plan out and implement. We had some bumps. You know, be hard. It comes down to the investment, you know, at a player level, coaching level, and an organizational level, ownership support. It's really the whole piece of it.
Don, you incorporate roster flexibility, especially with the way Bruce manages his lineup in games, whether it's Charlie, several positions, Grizzly being able to move up. Wondering, is that just kind of status quo now for team building, where you try and give yourself and your coach as many moving pieces as possible?
Well, I think we have to value players that can play multiple positions, and we recognize that. It's hard to develop players in that sport. You know, you realize you draft a player who plays generally a certain position, but I do believe you have players that have hockey sense, the ability to move around and play up and down your lineup. And I think Bruce recognizes those things very well in game as the players that are playing well and moving them around, but game to game. And you know, he's put players in situations that they've taken advantage of. Good for him, good for them. And he's quick to point that out. Grizzy's a great example, as you said. You go up and play in a shutdown role for periods of the game, and close out a series, and then back it off in penalty killing situations with Johnny Moore. You know, Torrey stepping up to play 27 minutes the other night, and you know, where he was a year ago, where he is now, playing in all situations. You know, says a lot for Torrey's own stuff. And those are things that our coaches every day try and get our players to recognize. You know? And I think Bruce does a really good job. Our staff does a really good job. As a group in the scouting, those are areas that we've certainly targeted players that would go in and fill specific roles. I think Nordy and Wags are a real good example of that. Sean Corrali is the example of a player that can play in different situations. Versus put him up in the lineup. I mean, that line played as the series went along, 16, 17 minutes. Obviously, we have a top line. The rest of the lines really go into the situation that Bruce tries to put them in advantageously for how they play for our team.
What is the status of some of the injured guys having
Yeah, you know, we're obviously, we've got some time to continue to evaluate where guys will be. I don't expect Kevin had a little bit of a setback, so I don't expect him you know, to be ready to play. And I would be very surprised if Chris was ready to play. We'll wait and see where that goes.
Do you hope for Chara to be ready for?
Yeah. But again, we have a lot of time to make the absolute right decision, give him the proper time to take over something to the negative, and crush it from whatever the case, but we're confident.
Don, you didn't mention Clifton when you were talking about the D there. And the reason I bring him up is you can do all the sort of planning and projection you want. I went to the rookie camp in September. I wouldn't have projected Clifton to be the guy among like Frederick and Stanika. So some of it is kind of whimsical, or I don't say magical, but you just never know.
No, there's a coming out party, you know, I think every playoff, every year. Players that will surprise and rise to the occasion. And Connor, look, he's a game kid. You know, right from day one, the way Bruce described it, you know, I didn't know whether he was going to be a forward or a defenseman when he was playing. John Deutsch, I was a little bit the same way, was playing forward when he first got it. But Connor, you know, plays to his strengths. And then he's put structure in his game. And he's bought into what we've asked him to do, and he's had success as a result. So those are good stories, really good stories, and important ones for the success of any organization.
And within that, is there a lesson? I mean, it's easy to say, so give me a dozen more like that. But I mean, is there an element that makes you aware of, or you look for in the future? Or?
I think the lessons for all players, you know, the next player will look at his opportunity. You're part of an organization for a lot of reasons. You've been identified, but the work is just beginning. And really, everybody gets to the finish line. Everybody gets to the start line, and then who's willing to do the things that, in the moment, that team needs you to do. And some guys rise to that. Some guys will win and accept the responsibility that's being asked of them in the moment, and they'll move forward. And some guys won't. They'll see themselves in a different way. And you know, that's how you can carve out a career. And good for Connor, you know, and good for us.
He's signed another year, but this could be his, you know, last chance to
would you describe the Z and Charlie pairing, kind of what they each bring, how they work together, maybe the influence that Z particularly has had on such a young player as one of your building blocks?
Well, I don't think it's much different than Z with Brandon his first year. You know, I think all young players need it. They need a guy that they can look up to on a daily basis. These kids are really talented. Charlie's a very talented hockey player. He just doesn't have the experience and the breadth of knowledge that Zdeno has. He hasn't gone through it, hasn't lived it. So there's ups and downs associated with that, emotionally, physically, at a young age to be able to handle those things. And Z's able to give that calming hand when you need it, and then allowing him, giving him the confidence to continue to play up to his capabilities and beyond maybe, you know, where he's at, play beyond what his experience would dictate. We all recognize Charlie jumping into the scene very early when he played in Ottawa without a regular season NHL game. The talent is there, but the institutional knowledge that Z brings to the table and the calming influence that he has for all of our players, but certainly his partner, the amount that they play, the situations they play, he can just impart knowledge that is invaluable.
Did you feel that with Raymond?
Far different situations. You know, Charlie has unique capabilities. Offensively, he's a gifted player.